Chicago Tonight, Latino Voices is made possible in part by CIBC.
Good evening and welcome to Chicago Tonight, Latino Voices. I'm Brandis Friedman, filling in for Ugo Balta this evening. Thank you for sharing part of your weekend with us. On the show tonight, recent data indicates Latino and Black populations are getting vaccinated at half the rate of white populations. Dr. Julie Marita gives us a shot in the arm on vaccine equity. A visit to the small business incubator Mercado Del Pueblo in Humboldt Park, where culture and commerce go hand in hand. A throwback to a 2002 story on an Afro-Latino music and dance style with an irresistible beat.
In the end, we remember that in Mexico, the traditional way of having chocolate is having drinks.
And arts correspondent Angel Edo heads to Pilsen to learn how to make Mexican drinking chocolate from scratch in tonight's Sabor Latino. First off tonight, the COVID-19 outlook has slowly but steadily improved as vaccinations make their way into the arms of healthcare workers and older adults across the state and country. But data has indicated a troubling trend. The communities most at risk of COVID-19 infection are not the communities that are receiving the vaccines. Earlier this month, our next guest published an op-ed in USA Today urging an equity approach to vaccine distribution. And she joins us now, Dr. Julie Marita, Executive Vice President of the Robert Wood Johnson Foundation and a member of the Biden administration's COVID-19 task force. She also served as Commissioner of the Chicago Department of Public Health. Dr. Marita, welcome back and thank you for joining us.
Thanks for having me, Brandis. Nice to see you again.
So we've seen in Chicago how the communities with the highest rate of vaccination are not the communities with the highest rates of infection, which are namely Black and Latino communities. With that limited supply of vaccine still, how are you proposing that state and local governments address that problem in the short term?
So, Brandis, we've seen with the COVID pandemic that while all communities in the United States have been affected by COVID, certain communities have been hit harder. And what we've seen is that Black, Latino, Native Americans are much higher risk for hospitalization and for death. And what we're proposing is that it's really important to focus in the vaccination efforts to make sure that Black, Latino, and Native Americans actually have access to the vaccine and can be vaccinated quickly as well. We don't want for this disproportionate impact that we saw play out early in the pandemic to see that continue on because people aren't getting vaccinated.
How does that look in the implementation, Dr. Marita? Right now, we know that states and governments are taking CDC's guidance and starting with healthcare workers, people who are over the age of 65. But to add the equity lens that it sounds like you're speaking of, how do you implement that?
So prioritization of who gets the vaccine is just part of the equation. In order to make sure that the vaccines are administered in an equitable manner, it's really important that certain steps are taken to make sure that everyone has access to the vaccines. I myself have struggled to get my parents' appointments because they're 86 and 91 years of age, and I have high-speed internet access at home and multiple devices that I can use. But there are plenty of households within the city and within the nation that don't have access to high-speed internet. So making sure that there's telephone systems to actually schedule appointments, having community workers go into the communities to actually help people register and make appointments, making sure that the clinics are actually located in the right places, and they're also accessible by public transportation and open after hours or on weekends. Because we know that not everyone can take off time from work to get a vaccine. We also know that not everybody has a car. So part of it is prioritization of who can get the vaccine, but the other part of it is making sure that the vaccines are actually equally accessible and easily accessible to all.
Some blame vaccine skepticism or hesitancy among Black and Latino Americans for fewer uptake in those communities. What are your thoughts on that theory?
So I think there's a lot more demand for vaccine than there is questioning or hesitancy about the vaccine. People are questioning and wanting to have more information about the vaccines because we have two brand new vaccines that have never been used before. And so people want to wait and see and learn. So there is a little bit of that. But there's also some deeper seated issues in terms of people not trusting vaccines in general or not trusting government. And those kinds of issues actually do need to be addressed. But I think in addition to making sure the vaccine is accessible easily, because there are the barriers there for sure, we also need to be addressing the questions and concerns that people have about the safety or the efficacy of vaccines. And that's not easy work. So it has to happen simultaneously. both making the vaccine accessible and then also working with the community to address their concerns.
And there's also obviously the concern about having enough vaccine. Here in Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker recently announced that people with comorbidities are now eligible to receive the vaccine as well. Here's some of what he said.
We here in Illinois are making plans and looking ahead to the expansion of Phase 1B eligibility to people of all ages who have comorbidities and underlying conditions as defined by the CDC, as well as those with disabilities. My administration will be working with all the local public health departments to fit these higher risk individuals into their community vaccination plans in the coming weeks.
Dr. Marita, how can states manage what it is that you're talking about, of course, getting vaccines to people with comorbidities, underserved communities, when the vaccine supply is still so limited?
So these are challenging times because the vaccine supply is limited. And I think it's critical that we get the vaccines out as quickly as possible. I think it is possible to do this work quickly and efficiently, but also there have to be the supports in place to actually help people to get registered for the vaccines, particularly those people who have been hit hardest. There are definitely programs that are in place both in Illinois, in Chicago, and other states where actually community health workers are going out into the communities to help people actually to register for the vaccines if they don't have high-speed internet access, to get the vaccines into community health centers, federally qualified health centers, and retail pharmacies located in our harder hit communities so that people actually have access to the vaccines. So again, prioritization is part of the solution, but we also need to make sure the vaccine is easily accessible. And it takes extra work and extra effort. Fortunately, there's more federal resources that are flowing both to states and local health departments so they can ramp up and scale up these efforts so that we can get the vaccine out as quickly as possible.
We also seem to have sort of a patchwork of different policies and approaches to this across the country. How does that affect getting the vaccine out as quickly as you say is needed?
So I think, in most of the public health responses that I was a part of when I was at the Chicago Department of Public Health, the large national efforts were best when they were coordinated at the federal, state, and local levels. We know that state and local governments are really playing critical roles, but it also requires some federal oversight to provide that kind of coordination to make sure that the states and locals that need more vaccine get the vaccine, those who need help in other ways, technical assistance or manpower, that they get those resources as well. So it's this federal, state, and local coordination that's really essential. What I'm seeing play out with the current administration is that there is more of that coordination that's happening. Federal government is stepping in to provide additional resources to pharmacies. They're also providing additional resources to community health centers. So this coordination is starting to happen, and I think we'll see an improved distribution of vaccine as a result.
And Dr. Marita, we've got about 30 seconds left, but what do you say to the idea that it shouldn't matter who is getting the vaccine so long as people are getting the vaccine? Doesn't that mean more people are getting vaccinated and starting to lower our rates?
I don't think it's an either or. We can definitely administer vaccines quickly and we can do it equitably. And now that resources are flowing from the federal government, it can actually happen quickly as well as equitably. And that's what's really important.
Dr. Julie Marita, thank you for joining us. It was good to see you again. All the best.
Take care.
Back with more Chicago Tonight Latino Voices right after this. Television is brighter and more lifelike than ever today, so it's easy to forget that those screens used to be tiny, gray, grainy, and an absolute marvel of technology for their time. A little-known Chicagoan of Puerto Rican heritage was a pioneer in that early technology. Here's some of his story. A new business incubator launching in Humboldt Park is focused on developing the neighborhood's economy while retaining its Puerto Rican culture. Chicago Tonight producer Quinn Myers joins us now with more on the Mercado Del Pueblo. Quinn.
That's right, Brenda. So Chicago's Puerto Rican community has long been centered in Humboldt Park. But in recent years, as high rents and luxury developments have encroached on the neighborhood's borders, fears of gentrification and displacement have grown, and in some cases become reality. So now, as a new public market in the community opens, they are hoping to help change that.
A whole plantain is taken in here, squashed.
For the last few years, Luis Collazo has been handcrafting jibarito presses, these wooden contraptions designed to flatten plantains for jibaritos, a Puerto Rican sandwich invented here in Chicago.
Nobody really had something to make a jibarito sandwich. We all had to go out, or they break a bunch of plates trying to make them, butcher blocks or something. Eventually, my wife asked me to make her something.
Collazo is now one of more than a dozen small businesses operating out of a new space called Mercado Del Pueblo on Paseo Boricua, or Division Street in Humboldt Park. The initiative is being organized by the Puerto Rican Cultural Center, or PRCC, which is providing free rent to vendors and artists to operate and try to develop their businesses.
This project, it's a market, but at the same time, it's an incubator. So right now, the businesses that are part of this project have the opportunity to grow at some point that they can open in the future a storefront, for example.
As the businesses grow, they'll also become eligible for advice and guidance from the PRCC and their partners.
If we feel that they're committed to formalizing their business, then we invite them to be part of the incubator. So that's when we work more one-on-one to give them advice in terms of how to develop their business and how to grow it, how to register it.
Collazo says he hopes to eventually have his own space in the neighborhood to sell his jibarito makers as well as the coloring books and posters he also designs.
Mercado offered a unique situation to small businesses, and I thought I could leverage that and learn more as a startup. There's a lot of things that small pop-ups don't know, which I didn't, and they've given me an avenue to see other things that I was missing.
One of the Mercado's goals is to eventually help businesses move into storefronts here on Division Street as a way of promoting economic development while stalling gentrification. Mercado del Pueblo is the brainchild of PRCC director Jose Lopez, long a fixture in Humboldt Park.
During the COVID, we saw that many of our businesses, particularly the informal business, suffer a great deal. They were not able to get any support from the federal government. And we thought we need to be able to take them through step by step so they could become formal businesses.
And the Mercado has a special section selling Puerto Rican products that can be difficult to find in Chicago. But the space is also open to non-Puerto Ricans, including business owners from Black and other Latino communities. One is Cedric Salone, who sells homemade body lotions and oils through his company Butters RX. Salone says he sees the Mercado as a way to diversify his clientele.
I have a huge online presence, but I have a small, in-person storefront type presence. So this puts me in a neighborhood that's very different. And also I get a lot of traffic and introduce my product to different areas and groups that come through kind of naturally.
PRCC organizers say businesses like Collazo's and Salone's and the others they're supporting are a way to keep dollars in the community instead of having them spent elsewhere.
For us, this Mercado del Pueblo speaks to us of history, speaks to us to community, it speaks to us about identity, but it also speaks about economic development in this age of COVID.
And the Mercado del Pueblo is open Friday afternoons and on Saturdays and Sundays at the corner of Division and Rockwell in Humboldt Park. They're enforcing social distancing guidelines and, of course, requiring face masks to enter.
And Quinn, the Mercado is in part about preserving informal businesses in Humboldt Park. Why do they say that's so important?
Right, so as we just heard Jose Lopez, the head of the PRCC, Puerto Rican Cultural Center, say, informal businesses, people selling clothing, arts, the Jibarito press guy, they've had a hard time during COVID. I mean, everyone has, but these businesses aren't eligible for any kind of government aid like more established businesses. The Mercado is a chance to sustain them and also give them some advice on how to grow.
And this is just, the latest of many projects in Humboldt Park that are designed to safeguard the neighborhood's culture.
Right, so Humboldt Park, East Humboldt Park is surrounded by higher rent districts like Logan Square, Wicker Park, which have experienced pretty rapid gentrification in the past decade or so. Humboldt Park has not been immune, but groups like the PRCC and others have really worked hard to keep Paseo Boricua on Division Street and the surrounding neighborhoods retain that Puerto Rican culture, and the Mercado is kind of just the latest example.
Okay, Quinn Myers, good to have you in studio. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks, Brandis.
The Puerto Rican Bomba is the island's first native music, created in the sugar plantations by enslaved Africans and blended with elements of the indigenous culture. In this throwback from a 2002 Art Beat episode, members of Chicago cultural organization Afro-Caribe show us how to get on beat with Bomba.
Drive west on Division Street and you'll feel a deep sense of Puerto Rican pride throughout Chicago's Humboldt Park community. Step inside Cafe Bate Urbano and let the percussive sounds of Bomba group Afro-Caribe take you on a historical tour to this Caribbean island.
Bomba is music, dance, and songs that evolved in the sugarcane plantation during the time of slavery. It is a music that is born out of pain for hope. It is music that is born out of pain for entertainment. It is music that is born out of pain for freedom.
How long have you been teaching?
Well, we've done this for almost 4 years, just the community teaching. What we get is a lot of young kids and grade school children. Just recently, we've begun to come out to the adult crowd. A lot of the first timers, like I said, it takes 30 seconds to grab onto the choreography because it's a planned and mapped out dance. But once you get into it, you put your own flavor into it, you kind of move your shoulders and you put a little sass into how you move your skirt or your arms if you're a man.
What would a man do?
Oh, this one's fun. Generally, it's just, you come out with the basic step with your arms and your elbows pointing out, and then you would salute the drummer by taking off your hat, and he would acknowledge you, and that's when your dancing begins.
And that's when you start solo?
And that's when you start.
With Bomba drum rhythms, people are free to learn the choreography or freestyle and do their own thing. Even Tito got his feet moving out on the floor.
I'm a dancer first. That's how I started. I became a drummer by necessity. I sing a little bit composer also. A little bit of historian. You need to learn how to do everything. That's what a culture worker is. And thus, Afro-Caribe is in the business of creating culture workers.
As Valentine's Day approaches, for many of us, our fancy turns to thoughts of chocolate. The bittersweet treat's history can be traced all the way back to the ancient Mayans and Olmecs of southern Mexico, where the cacao tree is native. In tonight's Sabor Latino, we visit a chocolateria offering chocolate bars and traditionally made Mexican drinking chocolate made with cacao beans direct from Mexico. Arts correspondent Angel Ito takes us to Sleepwalk in Pilsen to learn more about an idea that was 10 years in the making.
Today we are making a little bit of the process of making chocolate. And here at Sleepwalk, we are working with Mexican cacao.
Welcome to Sleepwalk Chocolateria and Cafe, the latest entity by Chicago coffee company Dark Matter Brew.
Really good coffee and really good chocolate have a lot of overlapping flavors that you can really pick out from cocoa beans to coffee beans.
Unlike its 7 other locations, this one is in partnership with La Rifa Chocolateria, which is originally based in Mexico.
It first started with them inviting us to Chiapas, Mexico, and going and be over there to be able to travel, see the producers, understand the processing, understand the chocolate production, and we were so blown away by what they've been able to accomplish there that we were inspired to really bring a lot of these ideas here to home to Chicago.
Co-founders of Larifa, Monica and Daniel, have been in Chicago during the pandemic, training Sleepwalk employees on how to transform the cacao.
We roasted the cacao beans and then we husk it to get the skin of the cacao nib. This is going to be really helpful whenever we grind the cacao in the traditional stone mills that we also brought from Mexico. These stone mills are big traditional mills that what they're going to do is that they're going to the stones are going to be frictioning one another to get the cacao grinded. We're going then to get a paste, a really, really liquid paste, because cacao has a big amount of cacao butter. So once we have the cacao paste ready, we're going to add sugar and grind it again using our melangers there to create refined chocolate.
The cacao is produced by Monica Jimenez and Margarito Mendoza, two farmers based in Tabasco and Chiapas, Mexico. It's because the cacao is grown amongst different fruits, flowers, and trees. Sleepwalk can offer 7 different chocolate flavors.
After we grind and refine our chocolate, we're going to temper it. By tempering the cacao and evening the temperature, we're going to get it crystallized properly, so we get this shiny and beautiful chocolate bars that are super crunchy when you taste them. So this is how we then mold the chocolate bars, and then we pack them so we can have this amazing first collection.
This same procedure is used to turn cacao paste into tablets that they mix with natural vanilla to create what's known as Mexican drinking chocolate. That's right, the only ingredients are cacao and vanilla, 0 additives. They taught me a little bit of the process.
And we are going to add only hot water.
Okay.
Yeah, it's like a 12 ounces.
Yeah.
We are going to put the molinillo, and only you can, ¿cómo se empujar?
Push.
Oh, to push it out.
I'm going to.
Social distance.
Disclaimer is I don't like chocolate. Oh my gosh. Wow. Oh, that is strong.
Yeah.
Yes. Wow, that's so rich and potent and flavor. For both Dark Matter and Larifa, this collaboration amongst the artists, the community, and Mexico is imperative.
Y queremos que todos se sientan incluidos, ¿no? We
Yeah.
want
Everybody to feel
feel included.
I think it's a great way to reconnect with our cultural roots and creating new relationships here.
For Chicago Tonight, I'm Angel Ito.
And if you're interested in trying your own cup of Mexican drinking chocolate, you can visit Sleepwalk, Chicago's local chocolateria in Pilsen on Blue Island Avenue. And we have more information about their community partnerships with local bakeries and artists on our website. And that's our show for this Saturday night. Join me tomorrow night for Chicago Tonight, Black Voices. We'll have details on a new online archive documenting years of police torture. One survivor shares his story with us. And a museum honoring the father of modern blues, Muddy Waters. It's headed to North Kenwood at his former home. We go behind the scenes. Now, for all of us here at Chicago Tonight, Latino Voices, I'm Brandis Friedman. Thanks for sharing part of your weekend with us. Stay safe and healthy, and have a good night.
Closed captioning is made possible by Robert A. Clifford and Clifford Law Offices, a Chicago personal injury and wrongful death firm that's proud to serve its community through pro bono legal services.